Broadcasting live from Redacted on the plane of Zendikar, this is Tap Tap Concede. Hello and welcome to an episode of Tap Tap Concede that we recorded on Friday, December 18th. In it, we discuss the Oath of the Gatewatch leaks, responses to those leaks from the community and from Wizards and from ourselves, giving our own perspective on things. Notably, this all happened before the judge bannings and the community and Wizards' reaction to that. So we do not discuss that in this episode, nor will I discuss it right now because this is I'm recording this a few days before Christmas, and we don't even have all the information yet to have any sort of perspective on how this whole thing has shaken out. So we just wanted to give you a heads up before you listen to the episode, the time in which it was recorded, that is not something that we address within. So please enjoy this episode where we discuss the Oath of the Gatewatch leaks.
Hey guys.
Hello. Welcome to Tap Tap Concede. Having a bit of fun there with the intro, because we're going to talk today, after we do the Crack-A-Pack, we're going to talk about the Magic leak, the big
spoilers.
Oath of the Gatewatch, literal
every
spoilers.
sense of the word.
Spoilers. No Star Wars spoilers, so at least you don't have to worry about that.
Star Wars. I can spoil
It was
for
a
you all
movie.
if you want
Please
right
don't.
now. I'll do it. I'll do it.
No, you
Okay,
won't.
I won't do it.
Okay.
You remember those haymakers we were talking about? That's a two-way street, my friend.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Okay.
Let's roll a dice.
We're going to talk, just to be clear though, we're not going to talk about the cards specifically. We're going to talk about the leak as an entity itself. But first we're going to crack a pack. And Alex is going to roll a 5.
And you'll notice
2, 3, 4.
something maybe a little different.
Oh, well, this is recent.
Oh.
It's a pack of Fate Reforged.
Tang.
So here, if you're watching the video, is this little webcam thing that Paul has set up for card recognition, so that I can just put a card here and it will go up on the overlay.
Oh, I
And
sure hope it works.
Pretty excited to find out if this worked. This pack of Fate Reforged was given to us by Alex at GP Vancouver 2015.
I wasn't there.
Thank Alex Reddy at GP Vancouver 2015. So thank you, Alex. Sorry, headset's doing weird. So let's
see if this works. I'm scared.
I'm pretty confident. We were messing around with it earlier.
Yeah, I mean it should work.
This theoretically means that they'll be able to get up on the overlay more quickly.
So
first card is Lotus Path Djinn. Bing!
Hey, it worked!
Did you see that? Did you see how quick that was?
That's
That was
really
great.
sweet.
It did it! Lotus Path Djinn is a 2/3 flying Djinn monk for 3 and a blue with prowess. This guy's good.
Yeah.
He was. I mean, he was never like the highest pick in the blue flyers deck.
No, but you would play him in every blue flyers
always
deck.
play him.
Yeah.
2/3 flyer, blocks pretty well, especially with all the morphs and manifests running around.
Yep.
And then he could hit for 3 sometimes.
Yep.
So that was nice. Next up, Sultai Emissary.
Oh, this guy.
This guy's amazing. You use this guy.
I play him
your
in
Mardu Aristocrats.
Yeah, well,
Highlander
the
deck?
Mardu and the Jund version have tested him. I'm still figuring out whether he's like really good, but I mean he's 2 bodies for 1, so
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's the 1/1 zombie warrior. Notable that he's a warrior actually.
2 good subtypes actually.
That often comes into play. So he's a 1/1 for 1 and a black, which is not like amazing. But when he dies, you manifest the top card to your library, and as a reminder, the manifest is you take the top card and you put it face down onto the battlefield as a 2/2 creature, and then if the card is a creature, you can flip it face up anytime by paying its mana cost.
Anytime. It doesn't use the stack.
It doesn't use the stack.
Dear
Must be
God.
real confusing to new
Oh, harsh beats. It's harsh sustenance.
No, 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 no.
1 white black for an instant. It deals X damage to target creature or player, and you gain X life, where X is the number of creatures you control.
That's some hotness.
Does this get into your
Ah,
new Highlander deck?
Maybe. I would consider it. I mean, it's competing with Vindicate.
That's true.
So
Vindicate
Maybe
doesn't gain
not.
you life though.
Yeah.
you're right. I mean, you're
Alex
not
just made
wrong.
an
So.
Obzon life gain Highlander deck.
Oh man.
Hey,
It's
sister, soul sisters.
Sister Rock Sisters.
Yeah, harsh sustenance was fun. You could always table this.
Yeah.
If you were in white black, you were going to be able to table it, which was nice. So, Obzon Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow. See now Paul's overrode with Vindicate.
Oh
and now
no,
it won't.
we broke it. I blew
No?
up.
There
it
it
goes.
is. Oh, okay, cool.
Excuse me.
I just wasn't reading properly. My bad. Obzon Sky Captain is a 2/2 flyer for 3 and a white, so it's a 2/2 flyer for 4. But when it dies, Bolster 2. As a reminder, Bolster is choose a creature with the least toughness among creatures you control and put 2 +1/+1 counters on it. This was cool.
Yeah.
Because you could often like trade it off for something and then bolster something big, or just beat for 2 sometimes.
Yep. Yeah, no, it was fine. Pretty good.
Jeskai Runemark. I think this was my favorite of the Runemark cycle.
Yeah, but they were still...
They were not great.
They were still not great, but yeah. I think
This one you could
Spudball
just
was
like
best.
win out of nowhere with. Though.
Yeah.
So it's a creature enchantment for 2 and a blue. An enchanted creature gets +2/+2. And as long as you control a red or white permanent, that creature gains flying. The creature itself does not have to be red or white. You just have to control a red or white permanent.
But it could be that creature.
But it could be. So you put it on a red or white creature and it gets +2/+2 in flying, and then suddenly you're just like, surprise.
Yeah. No, it was sweet. Boo.
Anyone remember this card was in the set? This
Gronk.
is Great Horn Cruciak.
Isn't this just poop dogs?
Oh my god, it is.
Yeah.
It's Shit Dogs,
It is.
the return.
It's the Thraben Purebloods.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a 3/5 vanilla creature for 4 and a white.
Yeah. It's not good.
It's not good. It's
It's got a big butt.
it's there.
Oh my
Yep,
god,
there it is.
It is Shit Dogs.
Yeah, I told you it's the same card.
Yep.
Hey, good card.
Here's a much better card. Bathe in Dragonfire.
Currently first pick.
2 and a red, sorcery, deals 4 damage to target creature. There you go.
Boosh.
Sure, it's more expensive than Flame Slash was, but
Yeah,
Hey.
but
that's
legit,
how it goes.
legit removal. We'll take it.
Frontier Mastodon. He was pretty cool.
Gronk.
Frontier Mastodon is 2 and a green for a 3/2 elephant with ferocious, and
It doesn't like the
It doesn't
camera.
want to scan.
I assume
Frontier
that it's
Mastodon, you're making us look bad here, man.
is a glare issue or it's just not reading.
Just
All
use use the theater of your mind.
This is the first time we've used this system. So anyway, it's a 3/2 elephant for 2 and a green. That's not going to help it. With ferocious, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, so if you have ferocious, it enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it. So it can enter
There you
as
go.
a 4/3 if you have ferocious, which is better than a 3/2.
Yeah, but even a 3/2 for 3 is it's playable. It was
What
fine.
dis?
Let's try this. This is a Defiant Ogre. It's a 3/5 for 5 and a red. 3/5 for 6.
Yeah.
When it enters the battlefield, you get to do one of 2 things. Either put a +1/+1 counter on it.
So it's a 4/6.
It's a 4/6 for 6. Or you destroy an artifact. I don't think I ever saw this cast in...
No,
in
It's,
draft.
it's all ogre for
I
this
never
guy.
played it. Yeah, it's just not very good.
Bloodfire Enforcers. 5/2 for 3 and a red. They have first strike and trample as long as an instant and sorcery are in your graveyard.
This card was also not...
It wasn't amazing, but there were times when it could really cook off. I'm thinking of what's the blue manifest card where you would scry? No, you would look at the top 2 cards and you'd manifest one of them,
Oh, yeah.
and you put the other either on bottom or top.
I can't remember what it was called.
Right into being?
Right into being. Thank you.
Yeah.
How do I know that?
So that was a sorcery, right? So you play that early in your blue-red deck, and then it's in your bin. And then you swing with the Bloodfire Enforcers and something else or whatever, and then you play an instant speed combat trick, and suddenly they're a 5/2 first strike trample.
Yeah.
Because again, it has to be an instant and
And
a
a
sorcery.
sorcery.
You
Yeah.
know, I almost wonder if that card would be better if it got first strike if you have an instant and trample if you have a sorcery.
Yes.
It happens,
That
like,
would be
separately.
It
significantly
definitely
better.
would, yeah.
Because the biggest problem with this card is that it's an X2, right? So
Yeah,
if
it
you couldn't
trades.
turn that on, it just trades down so poorly. Like it just trades down with their
With the manifest.
it just trades off with the
It
manifest.
trades,
or-
it trades with a face-down land.
yeah, which is just
Oh.
that feels bad.
Yeah.
That does feel bad.
All right.
This is pretty sweet. Teamer Sabertooth.
Oh, this card is bonkers.
This is the first pick so far. It's a 4/3 for 2 green cat. For 1 and a green, you may return another target creature you control to its owner's hand. If you do, Tamir Sabertooth gets indestructible until end of turn.
Yeah.
So this was protecting all your creatures.
Yeah.
Because if they tried to remove another one of your creatures, you activate the Sabertooth, and the Sabertooth gets indestructible. And then if they're trying to like get you by then killing the Sabertooth with that ability on the stack, you can activate it again.
Yeah.
We had a game where
Oh yeah. I
a
remember
stream
this.
game where we
Yeah.
had Teamer Sabertooth and the Salt Step.
Citadel.
No.
No,
It was
so-
the Warrior. There's the 2/1 for 2 and a white. and either he entered with a +1/+1 counter on him or a 1/1
Oh,
spirit.
so the outcast.
So, right. Is it Salt?
Salt Step, isn't it?
Is it Salt Step Outcast? It's something.
Sand Step, isn't it?
Sand Step Outcast.
Sand Step Outcast.
That's the one.
We got there. One of the best cards in Limited.
So we had enough mana, like we were at this massive board stall on the ground, that we had enough mana to bounce this guy with the saber tooth,
Yeah.
recast him, and bounce him and recast him again.
Yeah.
So we were just netting 2 1/1 flying spirits every turn.
It was amazing.
And we were just like
That was
slam
so
with our army of spirits.
Yep.
It was pretty great. Mind Scour Dragon is a 4/4 for 4. That does look. It does
That's exactly what sound it probably makes.
kind of like a chicken. You're
It's
right.
Probably a lot louder. But
4/4 for 4 blue. So 6 mana 4/4 as the cycle of dragons was, with flying obviously. Whenever Mind Scour Dragon deals combat damage to an opponent, target player puts the top 4 cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard. Because you're mind scouring. You're milling for 4.
James, you just hear like in Doppler effect.
All right, we're going to circle back to the rare. Our land is a Scoured Barrens. It's
Yes.
Black-White Gain land.
Considered playing this.
Enters tapped, gain 1 life.
Seems decent.
Don't see why you wouldn't.
I mean, like, yeah,
you gain life.
it's a
gain
tap
life.
land though.
Yeah, tap
Yeah.
lines are kind of sad.
That's the awkward part. Is like I could just be playing like a scry land, which is
Let's
probably
see how this
better.
does with foils.
Yeah, our foil is
Hey, it works.
another
So
defiant,
disappointed.
another defiant ogre.
You thought it was ogre, but it wasn't.
Manifest token? No?
No dice.
No tokens.
no,
okay.
no.
Doesn't matter. Our rare, though,
Oh, what?
is actually the first
That's
pick.
just the first pick.
That's really good.
Citadel Siege.
It's the best of the sieges.
2 white
Ugh.
enchantment. As it enters the battlefield, choose cons or dragons. If you choose dragons, which is the second one, which you typically don't pick, at the beginning of combat on each opponent's turn, tap target creature that opponent controls. So you just get to tap down their best thing every turn.
Yeah, but
But if you pick cons, at the beginning of combat on your turn,
What?
put 2 +1/+1 counters on target creature you control.
That's
card's
stupid.
The reason this is
good.
relevant is because I think this is the only siege that has an immediate effect on the board.
yeah,
Because you play it in your first main phase and you go to combat and you boom, 2
you
counters.
get 2 counters.
Even if the creature's not attacking, even if it has summoning sickness, you're just like, hey, all
Yeah,
my
it's
guys
2
are
counters
bigger and bigger
forever.
and bigger.
Oh, I got
That's
blown
a
up by
light,
this
is
card
that a
so
light
much.
breathing dragon?
Yeah, the
A laser breathing dragon?
the Dromoka brood dragons breathe light, basically,
So lasers.
pretty much.
Laser.
Oh, there was
Particle cannon.
There was one, the Lightwalker. Wasn't it called? Wasn't the card?
He's like,
something,
Foosh, and they're like, is this safe to walk on?
something Lightwalker, and it's like a 2/1. But if you control a dragon, he gets +1/+1 and flying.
Yeah, I
and
think
the art
so.
is him like, yeah, Lightwalker.
It's like, I
And
am
he's,
super nervous about this.
he's literally walking on. Yeah, he's
On
like,
the
this
light.
is
This seems unsafe.
yeah. Oh no, it has flying if it gets a counter. The counter representing one of Dromoka's scales.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because that was the flavor of that. So yeah, Citadel Siege definitely the first pick with Sabretooth and Bathe and Dragonfire being the other notables.
Yep.
Welp.
And successful first outing for the
Except for that one card.
except for
It didn't
Frontier
li-
Mastodon.
It didn't like Mastodon.
Let me try one more time.
Come on.
Marston.
Dude.
Hey.
Hey, got there.
You
All right.
Son of a. You're making us look bad, camera thing.
Alrighty.
So this will hopefully get incorporated into.
This I think it feels like a little bit more of a novelty for this use case. It's still neat, but where I think this thing will shine is when we start doing a lot more live streaming of Paper Magic.
Yes.
So we'll be able to set it up so like we'll have a stack. So it's just like I cast this card, bing, and then put it onto play, and you guys will see it pop up on screen.
Yeah, because that's really the because we did the Commander game, and people were like, some people suggested getting the cards up on screen, and the challenge there is literally the bottleneck is like the sort of the engineering department, which is Paul.
Yeah.
Because he's got to track all the other data from the Commander game and the camera angles and everything, and then also be looking up cards. It's not practical. You could do it with a second person, certainly.
Yep.
But if we're able to automate this system, which he seems to have been able to do, then that would work. The tricky part is that this it would work for the Commander game because Commander 2015 is a set. But it currently increasing confusion. Currently, the program we're using only can search 4 sets at once, so we got to figure out a different program?
Well, it's
around
a
that?
different program, or we were talking. It'd be really neat if the program allowed you to just enter a deck list.
Oh,
Because that would be
Ooh.
that'd be great.
That'd be rad,
right?
yeah.
Because it's just like if,
Well-
like, say you and Serge were gonna play a game of
Yeah.
Highlander.
Well, then what you do, James, is that you have the deck list as a set.
Yeah.
exactly. Well, exactly, right?
That'd be sweet.
Because your deck lists are online anyways, and it's just like it's homework, right? It's like we're gonna do Highlander tomorrow night. Show up,
Send your deck list.
send your deck lists in, so we can insert them into the program. So
That'd be especially useful for Highlander
Crunch it up.
or Commander with our own decks. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's like, I cast Dark Heart of the Wood. You do what, Graham?
yeah, you do.
Don't worry about it. It's just an enchantment from the dark.
Yeah,
You know.
Just
everybody
like-
knows what that is, right?
Yeah. Why are you running this card? It's
It's
terrible.
like, okay, Fire Covenant is on the stack.
Oh god, Fire Covenant's so good though. It's so good.
All right, you keep talking.
all right.
I'm just gonna slowly.
So we're going
this
to move
down.
that out of the way so that James doesn't knock it down. So, as you can tell, if you've heard anything about the recent lack of carpet in our basement, we know a thing or two about leaks.
Disgusting.
I'm almost tempted just to walk out, but
Yeah.
Throw your headset down.
headset
and
down,
leave.
out.
No, but it's the basement's fine now.
If we recorded our audio on separate channels, I totally would have done it. But we don't, so I'm not going to do it.
So there was this big leak of Oath of the Gatewatch cards that happened last week. It was I didn't even actually look at them all. It was all the new expeditions.
Yep.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
I think all of the mythics.
I don't know.
or-
I actually didn't look
I haven't seen all of them, but I know that
because I kind of wanted. I didn't want to get spoiled.
Yeah. So
We did a whole Lurcast episode about spoilers and sort of our
Yeah,
feelings
but-
upon it. Because that is what it is, right? It's, everyone's like, don't spoil, don't spoil
And I
the
mean-
movies or whatever. That's what this is.
it's very similar.
I
Yeah.
mean,
and I'm-
this has more sort of legal ramifications
yes.
Yes.
than just finding out, oh, darn, Darth Vader's
Gideon kills
Luke's-
Dumbledore.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
No! No!
drive past.
But you know what I mean.
Drive
like,
past your
it's just
LGS
like,
in a car.
every time
They're
there's one of
reprinting
these,
Ghost
yeah,
Lightning.
every time there's one of these leaks, it's like, oh, somebody's in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For what? Like, is it really that important?
To
I don't
be the
understand.
person. Look what I
It's like,
found.
oh, I found the spoilers, and now I can't play Magic ever again.
Yeah.
Was it worth it? Idiot.
Probably not.
Probably not.
So we have a unique perspective on this because we're independent content creators and we do a lot of work like this, like Tap Tap Concede, where we talk about Magic and it's part of our income and how we make money, and we get official spoiler cards from Wizards of the Coast. We also work on contract
Yeah.
for Wizards to produce Friday nights or
So everything coming out of our mouths they put there.
or to edit like the Modern Masters GP weekend hype video
or we put together this conspiracy video, or we helped out at the community. We've been a part of the Community Cup,
Yeah.
every year for the past 5 years. So we exist in this super weird 1 foot in the door realm where we're not beholden to Wizards of the Coast.
no.
But at the same time, we're not going to sit here and trash them or
No.
Magic's dumb.
yeah.
And honestly, part of that is that we know those people.
Well, and so I mean
we like the game.
for me.
we really like the game.
And for
yeah.
me, I think that's a very unique perspective for us, is that not only do we create content for Wizards and create content for just the Magic community, but we're also I consider a lot of the people who work at WotC friends of mine, and I know how shitty this is for them to have to go through.
Yeah.
A lot of the comments were, they're a big corporation and this is what happens and deal with it. And it's just like, well, I mean, not really. I mean, they're owned by sort of a big faceless corporation,
Yeah.
right? Hasbro doesn't have a face to it. Hasbro is just this massive multi-billion-dollar company, and Wizards is a very important, but a pretty small part of that. Whereas Wizards of the Coast is anything but a faceless organization,
Yeah.
in my opinion. You have people like Mark Rosewater and you have people like Aaron Forsyth or Worth or Trick or any of the other sort of forward-facing members of their team, and these are all people that I consider either acquaintances or even just friends, and it sucks that all the work that they put into it kind of got ruined when the leak happened. So that's a big reason, at least for me, why I decided.
I'm so cold.
Why I decided sort of to steer clear of them.
I mean, I was bummed. Like, for example, Allison, the community manager.
Yeah.
She tweeted from her personal account. She's like, today was going to be when I announced that I worked on titles and flavor text for Oath of the Gatewatch, but instead the Twitter sphere is arguing about whether leaks are good or not. So yay,
Yeah.
And it was sort of like suck the wind out of that, because that's super cool.
Yeah.
It is, and so I mean, like, there's that aspect of things, and Trick did a big article on the mothership about sort of Wizards' perspective on it, which is rare.
The fact that they
people might be forgiven for not knowing this, but they typically do not comment on leaks at all. Like when Kozilek and Wastes got leaked, they didn't
say anything.
They just kept going with their normal plan. They announced Kozilek when it was going to be announced. They acted like this leak had never happened.
Yep.
Whatever.
They have to.
Yeah.
But when it gets to the scale that this did,
which I don't think has happened since the New Phyrexia.
No, and this one's even.
Oh, right.
And this one's. I mean, I don't even know which one is necessary. I mean, I guess probably the God Book feels
that was
almost
like
worse because that's like the entire set.
But this was all the expeditions and everything.
Man, like I and I'll say right now that at least I don't have any sort of insider information. Like we're not privy to any sort of thing.
People think we know way more than we do.
I don't. I would like. I can only imagine the level of security that they had on expeditions.
Oh yeah,
and how this person got a hold of them. I don't understand.
When I did have insider information is when we were working on the PAX Prime show, right? So I did know about expeditions.
Yeah, we knew about them
a couple weeks ahead of PAX when they were announced, and I was just petrified.
Oh, dude,
because I was like
sitting in my email.
I know.
I was terrified
because I was like, we've worked really hard on getting this reveal, like mic drop moment to be so cool, and if this gets leaked ahead of time, I'm gonna be so annoyed. So like, I'm there while we're running through it with Will and Ashley. I'm like, my head's on a swivel. I'm like, could we put up like a curtain over there? Because it's theoretically possible that someone on the street out there could maybe get an angle just through the thing. And the people from Wizards are like, oh, yeah, that's probably a good idea. I'm shitting myself because I don't want to be anywhere close to responsible.
Yeah, exactly.
For any kind of leak like that. And it went out fine. But then all the expeditions for Oath get leaked, and it's like, oh.
And that was a big one too, right? Because
some of them are spicy.
Some of them are really big, right? Like at least with the expeditions in Zendikar, it's like, all right, we get the Battlelands and we get some fetch lands.
It's the fetch lands and the shock lands
and the shock lands. So it's like, all right, those are cool, but and then they went ahead and they've printed off some really, really cool stuff expedition wise, and it sucks that they don't get to sort of take us through the journey that they had sort of laid out. And I mean,
and I guess it is also worth saying, just so that people don't think that we're just like, throwing all of our weight behind, every word of gospel from Wizards, that, we've worked directly with Trick for 4 years,
pretty
so
close,
some amount of time, and I don't necessarily agree with word for word in his article.
No,
it's interesting, the bit where he's like, leaks aren't journalism because there's no cover up. Right. I don't agree with that, but unfortunately, that is also the part that people seem to be focusing on.
Yeah.
And ignoring the rest of the text.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they are like stuff gets leaked all the time, and it gets reported on, and that's.
I found a nit to pick.
Well, that is. I mean, to be fair, that I respect Trick greatly, but I think that was a mistake.
Yeah.
To say that, because I think it's wrong, and it also opened him up to criticism of that specifically. But the rest of what he's saying with like we do this, we make these plans to sort of follow this trajectory, and to build hype, right? It's it's for the purposes of hype.
Yeah.
It is.
Like, let's not be
Well, yeah, I mean,
like,
at the end of the day, it's to build hype. It's to
sell magic cards.
sell magic
obviously.
cards.
Like,
That's
we're
their
not,
job.
We're not.
Let's not tiptoe around that fact.
Like, we're also. I mean, like, we are saying, like, our friends at Wizards are sad.
Yeah.
But which is true. But we're not ignoring the fact that it's to make money, right?
Yeah.
Which I get, because it is sort of like there's this build over the course of spoiler season that everyone gets really, really hyped up for the pre-release, and if everything's hyped now.
Yeah,
it's like
it's hard
I'm
to
really
keep-
hyped. Yeah.
Well,
Then the hype dies down.
And the
You
problem
can't sustain it.
And the biggest problem with this leak, especially, I mean, I think even if it had just been the expeditions, it would have been less impactful to, I think, the hype train that is Oath. Because at least then you still have all of these sort of mythic rares that you can sort of dole out over the next couple weeks. Because the other people, like the other group of people that leaks hurt are, and Trick mentioned it in his article, and a lot of content creators like ourselves have come out and said it, is us, right? I mean, we're in sort of this weird situation where we get a preview card every set. We've gotten one for a couple of years now, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
But we don't get the mythics. So we weren't actually affected by this leak in any sort of meaningful way, but people like Luis or people like I think Marshall even. No, Marshall normally gets the big sort of
Well, it's like anybody
uncommon sets,
who
but-
would have gotten to leak a mythic now looks like a ham sandwich, and they're like, "Oh, and this card,
Yeah.
And
you all know about."
and we had that happen to us once.
Yeah.
For M14,
I think so, yeah.
the Bone Scythe sliver.
Yep.
Was spoiled because it was from, I can't remember if it was from one of the intro packs or something. It was the promo foil for another product that got found somewhere, and a picture of it got out, and it was like, here, Bone Scythe sliver, and that was our preview card. And so we were like, all right, Wizards doesn't acknowledge these things. We're gonna pretend it hasn't happened either. We're just gonna barrel forward. And we did our video on Bone Scythe sliver, and people were like, oh.
Yeah.
I can't
All right.
imagine how frustrating those comments must have been.
Because
Yeah.
it's like,
Hey, you guys, this is out. It's like,
yeah, we know.
We are aware.
Well, now it's out officially. Darn it! Right? It sucks. Now it's not like we are relying on spoiler cards. It's not like you're taking food out of my mouth. I mean, that's like, the idea
that we
that
would take a lot more umbrage with. It's just like,
if you come into my house and literally steal
just
my food,
slap the pie out of your
in a
face.
sense,
I
it's
might
just sort
hit
of,
you.
it's just sort of spoiling a lot of people's fun.
Yeah.
And I
It's
mean,
just like, what the hell, man?
And
we are in the general sort of like community of Magic content creators. We are, we're in a privileged position. We're a known quantity, which is great, but it definitely hurts some of the other, lesser known fan sites or channels or whatever
that get a card that, will help boost their Yeah.
And the I've seen actually from some fan sites of that size, I've seen sort of the idea that the leaks don't hurt content creators because they can make content like this, talking about the leaks or reporting on what the actual cards actually are. And I disagree that is the same thing. I don't think everyone's
here's
going
your
to go
consolation prize.
Well, the thing is, people are going to go to CFB or us or Limited Resources or the Mana Source or whatever to see a specific leak.
Yeah.
No one's going to watch every single Magic content creator's exhaustive hot take on the leak.
No.
Right? So it actually doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, leaks are going to continue to happen.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way around it. And I think another sort of criticism of the message out of Wizards that I think was also sort of a sticking point for a lot of the community was sort of this making us kind of feel bad for seeking out the leaks.
Yeah.
And the fact is that I don't actually fault anybody
No.
for going to look at these cards because
I don't know if that was intentional from the point of Wizards, but
Yeah.
but I don't think it's fair.
no, I don't think so
Like
either.
obviously people are going to want to see the leaks. That's
yeah,
you can't.
That's how this works.
Yeah.
And you should be. And at the same time, you should be. It sucks, but you should also be kind of like, oh well. I mean,
The sincerest form of flattery.
Well, exactly.
I mean,
Well,
but I mean,
it kind of is, right?
Yeah.
Like at least people are excited.
Yeah.
At least people are stoked that
there's a bunch
they
of
get
Oath
to.
of the Gatewatch spoilers.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like I guess it could have been way worse.
I'll check them out later, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, the fact that people were like, "What?" That's positive. But,
Yeah.
But yeah, at the same time, it's so weird.
It's interesting. I mean, it makes me sort of like. I've been trying to follow the logic of someone who has the ability to spoil a lot of cards and does. Like, why? Like, what? I
mean-
just wonder where the motivation comes in.
I mean,
like,
it's the
you
same
know
question
you're going to
as-
get DCI banned. Surely you are aware of that. It's like I don't know.
Yeah.
I almost think that it's like
It's
if I
fun to
had
break a story.
yeah, I guess. I mean, like there's traffic. There's also just like I almost feel like
I mean, traffic only works if it's not like to your like Facebook page
I
or whatever.
almost feel as though it's like the sort of like spiky player just wants all the info straight up
Mm-hmm.
and doesn't give a rat's ass about any sort of like Vorthos story building, hype
Mhm.
building. They're just like, give me info now
Yeah, which is fine.
so I can assess cards. And it's
Yeah.
just like, okay, but you were doing that at the expense of other people's experience.
I like
Which
LSV
is shitty.
once said that I think this was on an episode of Limited Resources. He said that he was talking to Ben Stark once, and Ben Stark said that he would enjoy the game of Magic just as much if there was no art or names, if the cards were just like a series of numbers and abilities.
Right.
Ugh.
And LSV was like, and he's wrong. he says he would. He is wrong, which I thought was very funny because it is important. I mean, even Spikes
Yeah.
can be
Well,
like, oh, that card's cool.
And it's tricky because
even Spikes can appreciate good,
Yeah.
good
so many
art and
people
flavor.
play this game, but only a pretty small handful of people actually. I mean, if you sort of look to the Reddit community has sort of become the magic, like the online Magic community, right? Like this is where you go to talk about Magic.
Yeah.
Online. Like there's no real official WotC forums anymore. They've sort of long been defunct.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of different smaller communities based around content creators, but the discussion isn't really there. So if you want to discuss Magic, you basically have to go to Reddit. And such a small portion of Magic's fan base actually probably goes there.
Mm-hmm. So every time when we go to pre-release, there's tons of people who are like, "So what's this set about? Have you heard anything about it?" And they'll open their cards and be like, "What's this do?"
I mean,
And to me, because I'm so invested in it, and again, I want to see the new cards and everything. When I see someone open their pre-release pack and be like, "Oh wow, this is interesting," I'm like, "How do you not know this?"
yeah, exactly.
But
But the majority of players do not know, right? I mean, the majority of Magic players probably don't even know about the leak, right?
probably not.
Right? And certainly they haven't gone to seek it out. In fact, they probably do know about the leak because WotC had to.
Oh no, we're part of the problem.
Yeah, well,
Wah, wah.
because
Wait,
WotC,
there's a leak?
Yeah, because WotC had to come out and actually acknowledge this one. Far more people will know about this leak than probably would have if they had been able to not say anything, which arguably wasn't the case this time around,
Yeah,
right?
Which is, I mean, that's why they try to keep it on the DL.
And
when it
I think it
happens.
was really good that they did acknowledge it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that sort of helps against this whole idea that they're this faceless corporation because they just really aren't.
No.
Like this is a bunch of people and not a lot, right? We're not talking like a company of thousands. We're talking about a company of a couple hundred, creating a game and wanting you to enjoy it. And there's no sort of ulterior motives.
Well, making money.
Well, it
That's-
doesn't make
which is-
yeah,
They
which
want
is
you
not-
to enjoy
which
it
is
enough
not-
that you buy it.
Which is not an ulterior motive.
No, it's
that's pretty
that's a
direct
motive
about
motive.
it.
Yeah, absolutely. And anybody, I think, with some intelligence should realize that a company that's their job.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it would be great if they could, give away Magic cards for free and here's the whole set and blah, blah, blah. But then who's paying them? And,
Yeah, and I
they
mean,
don't
that
get-
would be
So it's like-
socialist Magic.
So it's like, It's like what do they stand to lose financially from doing this? Probably not a lot, but again, it does. There was people on Reddit, like you said, who run game stores who were saying that like when a big leak like this happens, the hype dies down too early, and
people don't come out,
and there's not as many people show up for the pre-release because the hype is not at its zenith, and
as planned.
Yeah, as planned, and that's not huge. Obviously, it's not like literal pre-release is where the success of a set is made, but it's not nothing. But I think it is, as you say, more important that it feels better.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, even if it was some measurable impact on sales, it's like, oh, I'm selling less product because some dipshit decided he wanted to be internet famous.
Yeah.
It's just like, that sucks.
Yep.
You
I
know?
want to be internet famous.
We should have leaked these cards.
Okay.
Damn.
I was just gonna say, with this particular set, there's the additional thing of the whole, the new mechanic stuff of the colorless, generic mana thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the idea is as Trick said on the Gatherer or on the mothership, talking about how like they had a whole plan for how they were going to
Explain colorless
that.
mana.
Yeah, because like
And
people
so
And
were...
instead we had weeks of people going, how is this going to work?
They're like,
But
this is 6-color magic.
it's like-
they broke the game. It's like, oh, for...
imagine if like original Innistrad had been leaked with like the double face
card.
card.
They'd be like,
the flip
well,
cards,
nobody
yeah.
would have
So-
believed it.
And so there would have been like, however many weeks there would have been of people being like, what's going on? How does this work? And then and all sorts of like wrong ideas flying around and all this stuff. Like it's the same where it's, especially when they're trying to do a new thing.
That's why it was so out of left field that people were like, what do you think of the new Kozilek and the Wastes? And I was like, I don't think anything because I'm not even sure that it's real.
Yeah.
Like it's so different that could be, but I don't know anything. And then when it was finally announced, actually that was beneficial because when it was announced for real, I was like, oh, neat.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
But yeah, I think for me the biggest sort of problem I had with this was people's sort of ability to just sort of brush it off as like, oh, whatever, WotC, don't worry about it, or
we will
fight the system, and it's just like,
What?
well, no, like,
Fight what system?
I did see more people than usual, actually. Again, on the
And this
subreddit,
is true.
More people than usual be like,
this sucks,
this kind of sucks,
which
guys.
is great, and I love that. But man, there are a lot of really good reasons to fight against big companies, and this is just not one of them.
And there's
Like, don't get mad that they're upset that you aren't experiencing the game that they created and wanted you to experience it in.
There's plenty of things you could be critical of Wizards of the Coast for.
Yeah,
And that's not one of them.
Yeah, it's just not. So, but it was very nice to see, the day of the leak. I remember going to the subreddit and seeing a good majority of responses being like, this sucks, they've taken away our spoiler season, this sort of ruins the next. And I mean, it's the obvious thing is like, well, just don't look at them. And it's like, that's hard.
Okay.
We live in a day and age where it's very hard to avoid
It's like, are you on social media? You are?
Yeah.
Tough luck.
So
I'm like someone came to our Twitch channel yesterday during the Magic stream talking about Star Wars spoilers. They joined the chat and they typed a spoiler for the new movie, which was immediately purged, but their username was
also
the
a
same spoiler, just more succinct.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I did not see that, and I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah. So
Can
I'm
I
excited
just
about
say,
that.
like, functioning as intended for those people, but I fucking hate those people.
You don't like internet trolls? What?
It's just like,
I just want someone
Why?
to join the chat, be like with like the username like Ancient Tomb Confirmed Expedition or something. Because they did officially confirm that one, by the way.
They
Ancient
did.
Tomb,
Yeah,
which
Ancient
is
Tomb is
pretty
legit.
exciting.
Yeah.
Because they were going to use that as part of their explaining colorless. So it tap add CC to your mana pool, and it deals 2 damage to you.
also, can I just say, I think we mentioned this earlier, it's like, I feel really bad for the new player who gets turn 1 strip mined in draft.
In Oath draft?
I play a mountain. Strip mine. What? What?
Also,
What?
the art on Ancient Tomb is gorgeous.
It's so good.
It's so good.
That is really cool.
I love it.
No, you want to wait. No. You want to the turn 1 they play tapped.
Oh no, that's disgusting.
A tapped
That's
battle land.
disgusting.
So they're like, look, I got this battle land. It's
Like
worth
Wasteland.
like $5, and you're like, whatever, Wasteland, deal with it.
That means you have to rip it up.
Oh no! That's so mean.
Don't be that guy.
Don't be
So
that guy.
mean. We were playing Legendary Cube. We were playing Vintage Cube last night. We got a strip mine Crucible lock on someone, and that
You
was,
monsters.
It was really
Yeah,
gross.
it was bad.
It was not. It was.
They
not
weren't. They weren't even able to tap concede.
No.
Because he blew up all their lands.
Yes,
he was sick of
They had nothing in play when we killed them.
revolting.
It was disgusting.
They were a
felt-
fan.
yeah, I
they
felt-
were a fan.
just sort of like,
I don't know if I think they are anymore.
who can say? Ugh.
All right.
So I guess by way of wrapping up, as you may have inferred, it's a complex thing when we have a lot of opinions, and it is not a binary. So many things. If I have one thing to ask of you, dear viewer, please, not everything is binary, black and white, yes or no, and it always gets reduced to that on the internet.
Yeah.
Wizards is not the most evil thing in the world. They're also not a shining bastion of glorious hope.
Correct.
No, that's a card that hasn't been spoiled yet.
Spoilers.
Shining Bastion
Yeah.
of Glorious. No, that's a Yu-Gi-Oh card.
Spoilers are not literal toilets that will tear down the world, and they're also not something that we all deserve always.
Yeah.
And it's
Dash hopes. Nice.
and I expect that you have similarly complex opinions on them, and I'm sure you will talk about them in the comments, and I will
Complex
probably not
opinions
engage
are
you.
great.
But yeah, that's some of our thoughts on the leaks, and I'm sure we'll talk about the actual cards themselves at some point
I think next
in the
week,
coming weeks.
Next week we'll have we'll finally get the nickname
Yes.
podcast out.
Oh, man, I'm
that'll be
stoked.
I have
sort of
to
your
force myself
that will
to do
be
that.
your Christmas present for Tap Concede, and then we might be taking a week off because we're moving, as you probably already know, and then we'll return. And by that point, I think we'll be well into official spoiler season.
We can talk about
and we can
some
start talking about
OG
these
dubs.
OG dubs cards.
dubs.
Yeah, which would be sweet.
So, yeah, thank you for listening. And as always, our ability to bring you this podcast and to move to a new moon base is brought to you by you and your kind support of our Patreon at patreon.com/LoadingReadyRun.
Moon base actually on the moon.
It's actually literally on
It's
the
going to
moon.
be a hell of a
You were
community.
very generous. Thank
It's
you.
been a very good year for Patreon. We got to do a lot of
The
anti-G
space elevator?
training.
Oh,
And
That was not cheap.
No. And especially because you should put space elevators nearer the equator, shouldn't you?
I believe yes,
I
because
think
that's
so.
where it's closest to the moon.
Yeah,
I
and
think
we're at
that's how
like
that works.
49 degrees north, and it's not.
Yeah, we're a ways away.
It's not an efficient
we,
space elevator.
We made a Earth elevator that
Wouldn't it have
takes
been
us from
cheaper-
Victoria to the equator, and then a space elevator that takes us from the equator to the
Isn't
moon.
an elevator that moves laterally just a train?
Maybe.
is there a reason
It's a
the
walking
elevator
elevator.
music is just Wonderwall on repeat?
Yeah, we put Cam in charge of it.
I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye.